the first, or is it the second? We're going to call it episode of What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. We're going to be talking with the guys from Breakthrough Golf Technology. This is going to be something. It's a good start to 2023. Let's get into it. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers, club fitters are tremendous pack rats. I'm no different. And we're going to be talking about BGT, and the different shafts they make. You guys asked me a ton of questions about these particular shafts and the putter. We did a video that took off pretty decent about the zone shaft, which is for wedges, and maybe we can get them to talk a little bit about the driver shaft as well. And so we're going to forego some of the stuff or make it really fast in that what we've got is, John Rahm won. He put the accelerator down. Unfortunately, Colin Morikawa did not, and he ended up winning. So plus to him. But that's just what it is. Very good for him. Things we got going on in the shop. This was some kind of cool stuff. Mizuno wedges, and the Mizuno wedges, actually, this couldn't have been timed any better, had the zone shafts put in them. This for a golfer that he goes low. And the thing was, he's a big Pels guy, and he showed me his Pels wedges. And we talked about the differences in bounce and the way that the sole grind worked, of what he had versus weight. And this is what we came across. So the raw finish Mizunos and several different grinds for the lofts and the applications, the zone shafts for that. And then we put in some CP2 wraps in the jumbo size so you could hold on to them and have a soft touch. So very, very cool there. The other one is that we just finished, and this is going about 4 hours away into Lima, Ohio. Remember when I was telling you about the golfer that came down from Lima, and turns out we needed something that was heavier, right? Something that was heavier, and so he liked it, and so we finished the rest of them. So we did that. It was the T300s, and then we put in some Modus 120 Rs in them, and 120 Rs, and then we hard stepped them one, I think, or no, we left them the same. I've been doing a lot of hard stepping on other projects here lately, so it worked out real good. He said, play it, so not too bad. And we can't do, no weekend would be final without barbecue. You got to have the barbecue, man. That was a pork shoulder right there. It was about 3/4 through its lifespan, and I tell you what.
You soft.
Huh?
You soft step.
Okay. Would you turn off the light, please? Like this one. There we go. Okay. And so we did soft step according to the peanut gallery. And so it was, but anyway, it turned out pretty good. So that was that one. So back into the topic of the day, other than we talking about BGT, is fittings. And again, we hear driver fittings, iron fitting, wedge fittings, putter fittings, right, and different things that goes on. And I want to talk about another one where a golfer that saw a video of ours, and he ended up getting a make field. Right, ended up getting a make field, and he messed around with some of the weights, and we ended up, he wanted me to fit the putter to him. Well, I was like, well, okay. Now, because of the way these things are made, and this is going to be like the world's best show and tell edition today. Anyway, it has this post that goes in it, and this post is extraordinarily hard, and it doesn't like getting bent. So once that lie angle's milled, unless you know somebody upstairs, it's not moving. So anyway, so we took apart the putter all together and checked out where all the weights were at, and I asked him what he was looking for, and we kind of modified that a little bit. And he wasn't a bad putter per se. He was a lag putter. And I said, well, do you want to stop lagging or not? And he's like, well, I just want to get it, he was leaving it this far from the hole, and the idea was like to get him this far from the hole. Okay. So we ended up back weighting, and because the loft was pretty good, the line was pretty good. It did pretty good on the guess with that one. So we ended up back weighting, as in the other video would show. And all of a sudden, he's like this, very, very close. I mean, just walk up, tap in kind of stuff. And so what I'm saying is, when you do some fittings, when you guys, and I get asked this, when you go to these fittings, sometimes it's not, you shouldn't expect a wholesale change unless the thing is just 100% completely wrong, right? Just like this putter, we needed to just back weight it and change the weighting, and all of a sudden this thing's working for the guy. Now, sometimes in irons or even drivers, it could be adjust the length, maybe a loft change, maybe a lie change, maybe add a little bit of weight. And then sometimes it's a wholesale change. But when you go into these fittings, you need to go in with an open mind, with a clear-cut set of goals, and you need to tell the fitter what you want. And that way, that when you get done, you guys are both on the same page, and you're getting it done. Okay. So there's that one. So I want to get right to it, because these guys, I've been talking to them a little bit. These guys are pretty good. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's bring them on here and see what we got. We have Blair and we have Trevor. What do you say,
Hey, Jim.
guys? All right.
How are you?
Howdy.
Good. So BGT. So number one, introduce yourselves. Tell them what you're about and what you do at BGT.
All right. My name's Blair Phillip. My official title is Director of R&D. I do mostly, I add to the R&D efforts here, do a lot of research. Trevor sets up the research. He's in charge of a lot of the research and testing. And I do fittings, putter fittings mostly, and now wedge fittings with our zone shafts and some of our driver shafts too, with the Brava products. So we've created a new fitting center inside here, but mostly I do putter fittings. And that's me.
He's a really good builder too.
I can build putters. I used to build on the PGA Tour. Actually, I used to work for Ping Golf in Japan as a tour rep. I used to play golf professionally in Japan and Asia back when I was young and could do things. And then I learned how to look after golf equipment a little bit over there. Ping trained me up. And then I worked for Yes Golf in Denver for 7 years. And then several years in Dallas and Plano, Texas. And that's where we are now. We're in Richardson, Texas. That's where BGT was founded. So when Yes Golf, or actually when Adams Golf was broken up by TaylorMade Golf at the bitter end, everybody, including Trevor, myself, and our material science expert, Rob Stevens, we all came to BGT and started a new company. We tried to fill some gaps. Trevor, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sorry. Yeah, I started doing a little bit of everything, and as the company has grown, I've managed to divest a lot of the domestic and OEM sales and international sales stuff. So I still do some customer support, but mainly technical support, answering questions for all our retailers and the end user customers. And then any products going out the door, I probably have some hand in that. So a lot of customer support, and then I, like Blair said, I help with the testing that we do in here, the player testing, and nice. Things like that. And anybody who walks in the door, we get plenty of people driving by. Oh, I didn't know you were here, and we give them little tours. So I'm the tour guide.
Trevor's also in charge of any unvarnished take on anything that's going on in the company. So if you want a straight answer, ask Trevor what's going
Trevor's
on.
The man,
if you don't want a straight answer, don't talk to him.
So Trevor's the man.
He's the
when
man.
It comes to getting the techno questions. Well done. So for those of us who are geographically challenged, the Richardson or Plano, is there another city nearby that would be
Dallas?
Dallas? How far away is that?
Dallas just runs together, right? So we're on the northeast part of Dallas. but you don't know when you leave Dallas and get into Richardson. It's all one. You could drive for an hour and still be in the city.
Wow. Because funny, I've got family that's just outside Austin, so we've had to make a few trips down there for family stuff. And
Well, you're only 3.5 hours away.
well, maybe
It's a
next
short
time
drive in Texas.
I know, right? Everybody does like what, 75, 80 mile an hour. Let's go.
No, that's until you run into traffic, and then you sit there.
Good deal. All right, so BGT. So how did BGT come about?
Did you get this one? The company was founded, when was it? 7 years ago now. We basically, as Adams Golf was broken up, we needed something else to do. I was doing some research on putter and putter shafts at the bitter end there. And then I was given a call by the original founder of Adams Golf. If people remember Adams Golf, the hybrid company and the Tight Lies brand way back in the day. That was founded by Barney Adams. And Barney used to still come to Adams Golf once in a while, and he would go through the R&D department where Trevor and I worked. And he and I used to have talks about what might happen in terms of new product developments, what might come on the horizon. And then when Adams was broken up by TaylorMade, Barney called me and said, "All right, what are you thinking about? What can we make?" And I said, "Well, I think there's an opportunity to make a more stable putter shaft, frankly, and no one's doing it." And the reason why I thought there was a market for it was that on the Champions Tour, where I was a tour rep for Adams, working with the Yes branded golf equipment that was under the Adams banner, a lot of the players asked for something a lot stiffer because their head weights were going up, and they didn't like the play, belly shafts and long shafts especially, but even the 360, 70 gram head that they were using, they could feel a harmonic phenomenon going on after impact especially, and they didn't like it. And they said, "Don't you have anything stiffer?" And I said, "Well, there's a ski pole if you want that." But that was 240 grams. So there was nothing that was significantly strong enough to mitigate that poor feeling that they were getting, and nothing in the market. So we started making putter shafts that were more stable and quite a bit stiffer in certain regions that would control the forces that were being applied to the shaft at the longer lengths.
So who came
Blair
up with
started on his own, kind of doing a lot of Frankenstein research for a while until we got some investment money, and then we were able to take on some staff, me included, and Rob, and then we worked for probably almost over a year and a half, just every single day, putting shafts in putters, hitting putts with a robot over and over and over again, measuring impacts and looking at things with Quintec, toe hits, center hits, heel hits, different speeds, different paths, and just looking for something that was measurably different, better. And so there are thousands and thousands and thousands of hits behind this. We had a guy come down from Minnesota do some high-speed camera work with us, and learned a whole lot. We learned a lot about this, and the original shaft that we did, which has been refreshed with the carbon, was the result of that. Yeah. So it's a 600 diameter, no taper graphite shaft that has an aluminum coupler that goes 2 inches up and then up into the shaft. And then there's a 6-inch aluminum insert right in here that makes this part, the flex point of the shaft, ultra stiff. What we were competing against steel shafts, the stiffest part was under the hands because that's the thickest part. So it's as far away from the club head as you could get. And that's why people were giving Blair the feedback that the shaft felt soft. So what we try to do is reduce flex and torque. And for this shaft, the diameter of the shaft helped with that.
Yeah. So that was the idea of this.
Torque to about one degree of torque, radial twist, measured in foot-pounds. And that compared to regular steel shaft, or like a Cameron putter shaft, like one of those Nippon products, it's about 1.6 to 1.8 degrees of radial twist. And ours is 1. And then obviously this area here where all the juncture between the existing steel shaft, the coupler, and the graphite is 5 times stiffer than a steel shaft in the same region. So it basically controls the launch angle really well.
Okay.
So we had 3 design goals. One, obviously, is to make a better shaft. 2 was not to change feel, because you don't want to change something to the extent that people have to recalibrate their stroke. So 0 torque was not something we were trying to hit, because that had been done. Dogleg Right had the hog putters. Wilson had the fat shafts. Super, super stiff, very low torque. Felt
Terrible.
awful, and they lasted for maybe a year and they were gone. So you had to get something that made a measurable difference but didn't change feel. And then the other thing is there's a lot of putter shafts that are one material, graphite shafts, that work really good in a straight putter, but they don't work in a single or double bend. And we wanted to have a universally applicable shaft that we could reshaft single and double bend putters and not give those people no option. And so we found if you use a steel tip and you used about 8 inches of that steel tip, you wouldn't change the feel, but you could measurably improve the face angle delivery of the putter. And in our testing, that's what we found was the primary benefit of this shaft. The ball tends to go where the face is pointing. So if you can make the face consistently point closer to square, you're going to make more putts, because you're starting your putts down a narrower funnel. And that works from toe to heel, but it also works vertically on the putter. So the launch angle ranges and the face angle ranges with this shaft were measurably better, very consistently in every single putter we tested. Didn't matter if it was a blade, a mallet, a heel shaft, a center shaft. It was consistently a measurable improvement in face angle delivery and in terms of the consistency and range of launch angle.
That had to take a whole bunch of putts to figure that one out.
We did.
Over 24,000.
Yeah, we experimented. Like, people say, why do you even have a nub? We experimented to where we took the graphite shaft all the way down to the hosel, and the measurable improvement is so tiny, but the feeling, the shorter you make that steel tip, the harsher the feeling gets, to where it's just not a good feel.
It's not a putter anymore. It's more of a curling stick or something like that.
Yeah, so we wanted to get something that felt like what people are used to, but they would see an improvement and feel an improvement in terms of the face angle delivery and in terms of what they were watching their putts do.
We get a lot. I mean, the number of people that give us feedback that their lag putting improves immediately upon putting our product in their putter. It's almost ubiquitous. So
we are going to find out, because I'm an amazing lag putter.
You are?
To a point, it's almost to a point. It's a deficit. But so the guys at BGT have been kind enough to hook me up with a murdered out stability shaft, the Tour model.
Yeah, that's the Tour Black.
Yep, that's what it says. Tour Black on. You can't see it because it's right here. It says Tour Black right there. And so when I was going to, all this kind of falling together, just amazing. So this shows up, and I call up my friends at Makefield, and I said, hey, how about hooking me up with my identical putter so that we'll just put it to the test, right? It's just got a normal regular putter shaft in it. It's a straight in. So they did. They sent me mine. And then the guys were like, hey, well, we'll send you. And we talked. Actually, I talked with Trevor without knowing who he really was, talking about the tip sizes. And it's really neat, because normally I'm the techno one that people are talking to, and I'm calling him. And now we're starting to talk about inside diameters of putter shafts and outside diameters of the posts. And I'm going, oh, I'm nerding the hell out. And this is cool as all is, cool as hell. And so it's really fun when you can get in there and you start talking about these combinations. So here's how mine come. Now, guys, help me out here, making sure that when somebody orders a stability shaft, they sent me 3 tips. Now, keep in mind, I'm a club guy, so I got the capabilities of making this go. So here's what it looks like. They sent me 3 different size tips, okay? And because, as we were talking earlier, different manufacturers have different tip sizes, whether on the outside going over a post or going inside into the hosel area or any of that kind of stuff. So we're kind of got off track about, and then Makefield does different size posts, different size posts for the different size shaft you're going to put on it. So I was just like, well, send me the post. No, I want to put it together. Well, send me the head so I can put it on there. No, I want to put it together. So I was playing this middleman, like, send me the stuff so I can put it together. And so they did. So we get this. And at first, when I first saw this, I immediately went to, oh, this is what goes into the putter, because you got to rough it up because I had no idea that it was supposed to go like this. So when you guys send it, do you guys send it looking like this?
No.
We did originally. What we found was, if you were a retailer and you ordered some shafts and we sent you pre-assembled, you were stuck. It was only good for what you got. But if I sent you the upper and the tip separately, and somebody walks in, if you don't have the right tip, I can send you a tip, and you still have a usable shaft. If a guy walks in with a double bend or a single bend shaft, you have a usable shaft. If I epoxy the tip in right from the get-go, you got one use for it, and that's it.
And you can't use it on a double bend product.
Yeah, so it's much simpler if we send you the parts separate, because you gotta mix epoxy to epoxy the head, and you just use the epoxy to epoxy the tip into the upper when you're ready to go, and then you prep the bottom if you need to. That's why we don't abrade the tips. Yeah,
that looks pretty good. Looks pretty sweet. That's going to look badass with the.
Oh, this is gonna be so damn cool.
Hopefully you have a black grip for it.
I do, and it's black with a little Makefield on the top of it. This thing is gonna be, it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be pretty damn cool. So, on the tip section, is this the section you just want to leave it like this? There's no trimming in case, you just leave it as is, right?
Yeah, don't trim.
You just butt trim it to what you want it to be.
Yep.
Right? So we get it like that. We put it together like that. And now I've got a putter that is going to be the envy of the putting world.
Yeah,
that is super cool. So a couple of minutes at the bench with my glue, and we are making a putter. That's going to be awesome. So now we know which one to use. I like the idea too. Actually, you guys are thinking ahead. So, when you get the other tips, you're absolutely 100% correct. With the variety of putters that are out there, with the variety of the bends, the double bends or whatever, and if you can take either one of those pieces and throw them into a shaft and you have it, your flexibility is just incredible. And that, cutting down on skews, cutting down on all that. And if all you have to do is get a handful of those, then holy smokes, man, that's actually pretty damn good from a guy who does it like I do, right? We fit them in there and we can put them together and do that. To the point, the wedges, the zone wedge shafts that I ordered just came in today too. And we're waiting on some Cleveland, the new, was it RTX 6 in the black? Somebody's already pre-ordered some with those shafts in it. And so I'm going to wait for them to show up in order to build them. So that's cool. Yeah, we've been going through those things like water. It's not bad. They're a pretty nice little shaft.
Yeah, those, unlike the putter shafts, are going to be fully assembled because you've only
Right.
got one tip diameter. There are 355 tips, and you do not want to do any tip trimming on those.
Oh no, I test everything that comes in here gets tested. So I did the frequency on them and the whole 9 yards, and I was like, wow, okay. And when they made it stable, they weren't joking, and it was cool. They on your website, and it's was it breakthroughgolf.com or is it breakthrough?
Breakthrough
Golf
Golf Tech, TECH at
There
the
you go,
end.
breakthroughgolftech.com, and it talks about that the sleeve or whatever you want to call it that joins the graphite to the steel section, and where that's giving you, just like you were talking in the stability shaft, and it's noticeable, and to the point. I had a guy in here, that strong kid. He's a kid. He's 20 something, and just hits the crud out of the ball. Everything's hard. He's a hammer and everything's a nail. And I give him this, and I've got him in this a graphite design UB, right? It's a rod. It's their version of the rod, and an X and a 70 gram, and he can control that one. It doesn't go wild on him. So I give him this 115, and he says, "Oh, that's going to be light." And I said, "Nah, you might want to hold on to this one first before you're giving it down the road." So I put a wedge on it that he likes, and he grabbed it and was like, "Oh, hey, there's head weight here." And I said, "Yeah, hit it like you want it, man." And he hits it. He's like, "You can feel that club everywhere it's at, all the way down and all the way through." He says, "You can track that club completely."
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, we were pleasantly surprised when we started our testing, and we were doing player testing, and how the dispersion tightened right up on TrackMan. If you fit it properly to the individual, and you get the lie angle correct, it'll just stripe the center line all day long. And it's been fun to watch. The dispersion on average, what is it, 17 to 21% tighter in our testing.
Yeah, left to right and front to back. And that's against S400, KBS high rev, the Nippon 115 wedge shaft, and the recoil. So some pretty legit tour level shafts. And
Well,
it's beating those. It does the same thing as they do in terms of launch and spin. It just puts it into a much tighter area.
Well, again, I was on Bob and I, that's my golfing buddy. We went to Pinehurst for the first time this last year, and we stopped at it was like Mid Pines, I believe it was, the Palmer course. Anyway, we're paired with a couple of members, and he pulls out a blacked out stability shaft and the wedge, and I'm like, "Well, that's pretty cool. Well, let me see that." And he said, and I was just starting to read up on him. I said, "That's the first one I've ever seen." I said, "What do you think?" He says, "Never coming out of the bag." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's what you call a testament to it." And I'm like, "All right." I said, Are you really that much tighter?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, it was something else. The same swing, same everything, didn't change nothing. It just me like that." And I was like, "All right, we'll see." And he wasn't, he's a good golfer, but he wasn't like he was barely into a single digit, right? He wasn't like zero, and he wasn't a plus. He was just right there, which is that's the guys, the largest percentage of the people that we need to really, if you can get those guys doing it, then all of a sudden there's a bigger group in the single digits. So that's what I like about it. It was a good testament to the line, right? To the line.
That's cool.
Yeah. And now I understand you guys now have a driver shaft.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We have several.
Several driver shafts. All right.
They're different flexes. They're all the same. I'll let Trevor go through it, but I've got
Yes, the brand is called Brava, and so we originally had an A flex, which is not that one.
No.
A flex has got some silver in it. There's an R flex and an S flex. So
And an X now.
Yeah, and then we had enough people asking. We figure, okay, it's a reasonably high torque. The goal wasn't to make yet another tour shaft. The goal was to make a shaft that would work for the guys that had a little slower club speed and the guys that wanted to turn the ball over and were struggling and needed to get the ball in the air. So it wasn't like a low torque, yet another one of those. But then we had enough people saying, what about an X? I need an X. And we had a couple guys that did some videos with no idea who they are, but they did some YouTube videos that are swinging way faster than they should with the given shaft. And we're getting good results. And so we made an X also, and we've sold a lot more X's than we expected to, for sure.
Now, is this golf shaft in the same concept as a two-piece where it's graphite and steel, or is it just graphite all the way down?
No, this is a homogeneous shaft. Yeah, we were looking at doing a modular shaft and just couldn't get the weight low enough.
We're working on it, but it's hard.
We're working with some people now that are using some materials. We may be able to do that, but originally we couldn't get it below about 75 grams. And where the market is, we just didn't think that was going to work.
So what is it you have in the
talked
driver's
about
shaft?
maybe doing something like that as a fairway wood shaft, but right now this shaft has done enough for us that I think this is for a driver shaft is where we're going to stay for now.
So what is offered in the shaft? Is it a particular weight and flex range, or is there particular weights and flexes? What's the offerings for the Brava?
Well, it starts with an A flex and then works up. So as you go up in flex, you're also going up in weight and going down in torque.
Okay, so what's the A flex weighed out at? Do we have a number?
51.
Yeah, about 46 grams.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and it's the stuff that's printed on our marketing materials. The torque is actually a little high compared to what it's measuring at. So by the time you get to the R is 50 grams, the S is 54, and the X is 58 grams, and I don't know what the torque on the X is, honestly, but the rest of them, by the time you get to the S, you're the low fours. So
Okay,
the R, I think,
very
is
similar
4.8.
shaft.
So a little higher than a lot of shafts, but if you get too low in the torque, it can be a harsh feeling shaft, and it tends to be a shaft that if somebody's struggling with hitting the ball to the right, like a lot of people are, a low torque shaft isn't going to help them with that, for sure.
Well, I just had to, so I put the idea that I was going to do this video on My Golf Spy. And I said, hey, if you want to watch, learn about the BGT, have at it. And a guy pops in there and says he's going for a fitting and he's going to look at driver shafts. And I don't know where he went, but I said, well, let me know what you think, because this is the last product that I've not seen. So he comes back and he says, yep, went through the fitting. And we ended up with, he said it was in the 50 gram area, and he thought that he would be overcooking it a little bit and, and be hooking it and all that stuff. And he tried really, had a kind of a wide variety he said from like 97, 98 to 108 when he was just coming out of his shoes, right? And they were testing him on that. And he says, his biggest fear was turning it over too much and watching it go into his inside. And I'm like, well, okay. And so I guess he had kind of a big pull down, or I guess the only thing I can get away from it. And he comes back and I said, so what do you think? He says, holy cow, man, this thing, you would think that you were going to lose it. When he swings nice and easy, it goes where it's pointed. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what about when you're standing on it? And he goes, you would think, here I'm thinking I'm going to be flailing it. And he goes, you think I'm going to get ready to turn it over? And it just takes off and it goes, and it landed exactly where he wanted. It never snapped on him. And I'm like, well, okay. There's, and the guys at My Golf Spy, I mean, if they don't like it, man, they'll be brutal. And so what they say, I'm like, okay, well, that's worth a shot. We'll see what that's all about here going forward. But So a lot of, the takeaway from it is I'm seeing a lot of positive, right? It's just a truckload of positive in every category. And it's funny that you guys are all about being super duper stiff here and, being very, very stable in the wedge. And then in the driver shaft, it's kind of a different technique or a different philosophy in order to get there. So there's a lot going on, so are you guys got anything, can you tell us if there's anything coming into the future?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
We have to shoot you afterwards.
yeah,
but
we,
no. I mean, obviously, with the wedge shafts, the logical thing, and you can guess where it's going, is to flesh that out and make irons.
Oh, look at that thing.
Well, this is a
this is
wedge.
the wedge.
This is
but
the 130 gram.
We're
Oh,
employing
yeah, it's the black one,
some
right?
of the stuff we learned in the wedge, and the immediate thing was, well, will this work in iron shafts? Well, it will, but it's going to take a little time because it's componentry, it's balance points, modulus by region. It's a lot of engineering to get a set of shafts that are, obviously you're putting them in at different lengths. So to get the balance points right and get all the things engineered correctly, it's going to take a little more time, but it's coming.
Yeah, one of the advantages we have, I think, is that the 90 gram wedge shaft is graphite with graphite. It's a graphite tip with an aluminum coupler. Because at some point when you do a set of irons, some of them are going to be graphite with graphite and some of them are going to be steel with graphite. And it's where's the transition and what's the length of the tip compared to the length of the barrel and all that. So you have to engineer the balance points so that you get a consistent swing weight through. And you also have to have enough of a tip section so that somebody can hit something in the air. It's nice to have a real solid, stable upper, but you still got to get ball flight too. And it's great with a wedge, but if you did the exact same thing, I had a guy call me the other day and he was like, what if I put these in a set of irons? I said, you'd probably hit the long irons about shin high. It seems simple enough to somebody on the outside, but there's a lot of engineering that goes behind making a set of irons and basically we're not making a set of irons. We're having to make 3 or 4 different sets because you've got to get, like on the wedges, we don't have flex, right? We've got 3 different weights and you match up your wedge, the weight you choose based on what you're comfortable using. And then people tend to use shaft weights that are a little bit lighter than their wedges. So we got 3 wedge shafts. We're probably going to have at least 4 iron shaft weights. And each of those has to be engineered to balance for the projected head weights and the lengths and to help the user hit them optimally. So there's a lot of thought that has to go into it.
The engineering is basically by skew. So you're looking for we're trying to send the ball into an acceptable window based on the number on the club, right? So it's not an easy proposition, but so it's going to take a while. I'm not sure how long it'll take. Probably, I'm not going to say, but I'm guessing it's going to be a year.
We're hoping this year, but we'll see. And then we also, because the popularity of the driver, we're looking at the possibility of doing a fairway wood type shaft also.
Well, a fairway wood shaft is kind of a unique animal because not a lot of people make them.
For sure.
It's just an added skew for most shaft companies that go driver, hybrid, irons, sometimes a wedge, and you're pretty much done. And sometimes you get a putter, sometimes you don't. But there's very, very, very few companies. If I can only think of 2 right now, maybe 3 tops that are actually doing fairway woods. I mean, real, no kidding, fairway woods and shafts. And because, the old, I just add 10 grams, chop it off and throw it in there, and it never worked. And you're like, oh, good gravy. What are we going to do now? Well, these guys did it. And when I go to do that, that's what I use because they're specifically designed for the fairway wood. A little heavier, a little smaller, right? A little contention of the twisting and stuff like that. So
we got a different attack angle. That's
yeah. But I think if this iron shaft thing you got going on, you're going to be breaking a lot of convention too. I think uh, with the idea of, you took the stability to, like, the next level X plus X, and now you do that same kind of concept with iron shafts. uh, Man, it might be a whole new category or way of we thinking about putting it together.
Well, that's our goal. I mean, that's our goal is to do things differently and better.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we're trying to build purpose-built shafts. So we're trying to look at how they're used, all the dynamics, and then engineer back from that. And it's so far so good.
Good. So one of the other questions is, so if you can tell us, well, we were talking about being on tour and that kind of stuff. Has the shaft or the wedge made it out there so that people can see it being played?
Yeah, it's out there. Obviously, with the PGA Tour, if you're not paying, they're not playing.
Mm-mm.
And so that there's interest out there. We've had guys in it, and we've had some very good players that their companies wouldn't let them use it for contract reasons. We've got a guy who's out there who primarily works with the Corn Ferry Tour, and we got a lot of use on the Corn Ferry Tour. We don't really keep a list of names or anything like that. It's just there are guys that are every week. I'm sending shafts out to the guy probably every 2-3 weeks, sending some shafts that he puts in play. I can tell you last year there was a guy named Mito Pereira who won twice using our shaft.
Putter shaft.
Last year being the year before, because he made the PGA Tour in 2022. But he used the putter shaft in 2021, won twice, got his tour card. And then 2022 or 2021, Louis Oosthuizen was probably the biggest name that used it and putted very well with it.
He was number one in putting stats from inside of 10 feet. I think he made, 91%, which was
Yeah, so there are guys that use it. The first win we ever had as a company was on the LPGA Tour. So there are players. We don't pay anybody. So I don't know if that
There's
helps.
A couple
us or
guys
hurt
on
us.
the Champions Tour that are using the wedge shaft. That we know them really well. They, I guess we could tell them. But if you see KJ out there, he's probably swinging our wedge shaft.
Yeah, he actually helped us develop it.
Yeah, he did. He had a say in how it was put together, and there's more, but I don't know if we can get in a lot of hot water for using.
Yeah, that's, you kind of touched it. That's the reason I kind of asked it the way I did. So from another perspective, you're sitting there. Is anybody that's not, but like we would know, like famous that would come in there and just say, "Hey, I'm kind of interested in this shaft."
Well, we have a lot of people that come in here that, like, I don't know how many people are in my putter fitting folder in the professional ranks, but we started with. I mean, Tom Watson used it for that 9-hole Masters Championship, and he had 9 putts, and he beat all the youngsters in that event about 3 years ago, and had Jack Nicklaus's grandson not had a hole in one, that would have been the story. But unfortunately, it became about that hole in one on the par 3.
Yeah.
So we've had him, we've fitted him, but he's finished now. But we've got a lot of professionals.
There's a lot here in Dallas, and we've tried to
40 or 50.
This kind of like a drop in if you want. Come in and so there's a lot of people that come through just to have a player look at their putting, things like that. So we and then there's a lot of local people that we just want it to be like, come on in, you need some tweak, need a grip change, come on in. So we get a lot of people just come in and talk and want to see what we're up to. Doesn't have to be famous people. Famous people don't buy golf clubs. It's just regular people, regular people off the street, because you get your crew that likes to nerd out on golf stuff. There's people that like to do it, just come in here and
Hang out.
yeah, hang out and talk to us and
Okay.
do it here.
Well, that's where can somebody pick this putter shaft, this wedge shaft, this driver shaft up at? Where do they go?
Retailers.
Yeah, so we're in, like, Club Champions is probably our biggest U.S. Retailer. We probably have 300 plus accounts in the U.S. of various sizes, anything from like some of the golf techs, things like that. We're in Golf Town in Canada. A lot of our business is overseas. So if you're in Asia or something like that, they're all over the place. If you have an account or have a business and don't want to order directly from us, Swing Science is a big account of ours. Golf Shafts of America is another one that kind of works as a distributor.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Swing Science had you guys. They're only about 3 hours away from me.
Yeah. Blair's been up there a few times.
Yeah, I've done some putter fitting seminars and educational stuff for Howard up there.
Yeah,
We like
I was
that.
just going to say, did you talk to Howard? Is he still doing
Oh,
all right?
You can't not talk to Howard, man. He's all over it.
No.
We got so numerous
His way in the
locations.
conversation. Well, very cool. So, I mean, fellas, I appreciate the fact you guys came on. That was pretty cool. And I'm looking down, we made 45 minutes.
Sweet.
Just like we were talking. So it's I really thank you. Thank you for allowing me to test for the putter shaft. I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. And then
Great.
allowing me to do the zone shaft. I can't believe how it's one of those surprising things, right? When you do it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good little shaft. And you throw it out there and the next thing you know, hey, I saw you hit the shaft. Yeah. What do you think? I was like, well, I really kind of like it. Like, oh, okay. Well, I want to get one. Okay. And then it happens again and again and again and again and again. And it's amazing how it's just taken off all on its own. So it's been pretty impressive. You guys have really struck a nerve in the wedge and the putter area for certain. That's to be sure. And so now we just got to check out this driver shaft thing and see how that's going to work out. And
I can tell you one thing, that one of the reasons why we don't have a whole bunch of like a ton of TV time on tour yet with the wedge shaft. One is it's very recent. We just launched it 3.5 months ago, I guess, at the
The wedge shaft.
The wedge, yeah. The wedge shaft I'm talking about. And part of it is we can't make them fast enough. We're selling them so fast. There's not a lot to go out on tour, frankly. We're getting full wholesale pricing for these things. So, we don't want to give them too many away.
so are you guys making them in house?
Yeah.
Well, we assemble. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the assembly's quite what's involved. It has to be precise, in order to keep everything tight and QC up, and also there's a proprietary way that we put them together so that they stay together.
Yeah, and are radially symmetrical.
We check for radial symmetry and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of processes that go out so that we can keep selling them and we don't create any trouble with the QC.
Okay. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Blair, Trevor, it's been it's been an absolute blast. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. I hope we can keep a lot of these conversations going. Breakthrough Golf Technology, guys. Breakthrough Golf Technology. You can go visit the website and see what it's all about. You're going to see Blair on there a couple of times talking about shafts and little bitty clips, and you can learn more about the products. So far, there's been a huge wide acceptance on the stability shaft, which that's how they got started. And this zone shaft, I think, may have surprised them a lot because it's from my little corner of Southern Ohio, where the rednecks run large and the whole 9 yards. It's taken off, and it's just amazing. So I can only imagine what it's going out there where there's real populations being involved and whatnot. And this driver shaft looks to be it's cool because when I heard torque, I've talked with other driver shaft designers, right? And weight, torque, profiles, and how they make it, and the pre-pregs and all that stuff, and all the things that goes on. And the sweet spot, and this was years ago, the sweet spot was like 3.2, 3.5. Now with bigger, lighter heads that are coming out there, it might be the number might get a little bit bigger because there's not as much being played on them. Speed is speed, but and how it plays. So this is really kind of interesting in how this goes out there, and it'd be really, really interesting to see how this works out. And again, Breakthrough Golf Technology, Blair and Trevor, these guys look like they're the backbone of what's going on at BGT right there. Anyway,
Well, Rob should be here too.
Yeah, our
Rob's
material
the smart
science,
guy.
he's the smartest guy in the room, but he had to go back to Fort Worth tonight. So we'll
so
maybe get him on next time, Jim.
What happened? What happened with Paul? He said he got promoted. I was like, what? You got promoted?
What's the sales guy?
He's our sales.
Don't ask him
head of
any
sales,
technical
yeah.
questions.
Well, he automatically referred me to you. He said,
Oh, yeah, no,
He's smart enough to do that.
Yeah. No, I get to
Like I
answer
said,
all
Paul's-
the technical questions.
Paul's great. He's doing a great job with our sales, and we got a good sales team too. But if you want to geek out on the material science, we'll bring Rob Stevens in next, and he could have some fun asking him questions, or having your customers or those people online punch questions in for him, and maybe we could do something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be a ton of fun. We'll do this after the PGA shows in like 2 weeks, so we're going to be spending our time getting ready to go down there and get all the gear packed and get the plans made and all that stuff. So when we get back from there, we'll have to give you another call and arrange a time for that to happen. That could be we'll just call it the nerd session or whatever.
Yeah.
It helps us too, because a lot of people, like, we don't have the huge marketing budget, and we can't afford to play a head-to-head dollar game with the rest of them. So this sort of things really helps us out, Jim, and we appreciate it.
Oh, it's been my, kid yourself not, it's been my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. This kind of stuff, learning from you guys, and the difference in, one day we'll sit down with Trevor, we'll talk about the sleeve that everything goes in there that talks about the stability and what that's doing for you guys. Because I see it and I recognize it, and I'm like, okay, I'm still wrapping my head around it. And then when you said that aluminum piece, I was like, oh, now the light bulb came on. I was like, oh, okay. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. That's just for my own nerdiness, that's just what it's all about. It has nothing to do with any of this stuff. Just my own clarity of mind, basically. And so that'll be fun. So if for some reason you guys get a chance to get down to the PGA show, give me a holler, man. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll sit down and we'll just talk about what you saw and what you think was cool, what you thought was stupid, and because there's a little bit of both at that thing.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. But outside of that, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much again, and hopefully we'll be talking soon.
Yeah.
You guys
All right.
want to watch? I mean, I leave you on here, and then we're going to start answering a bunch of questions. It's up to you what you want to do.
You got questions?
Well, the very first question is this. Wondering how to make a belly putter. Do I need to get a whole new shaft, or would extensions from GolfWorks do the job, or would I need to change the lie angle of the club? Oh, man.
That's a lot of
There's
questions.
a lot of questions.
So if you wanted to make a belly putter with our shaft, you would want to use the Tour Long shaft.
We have a 200 gram 40, what is it? 40,
It's a 40-inch graphite tube.
Yeah.
So you can make anything up to about 47, 48 inches without an extension. We've made them as long as 53. So you could make a belly putter with our shaft. We really don't get a whole lot of requests for belly putters. It's primarily arm locks and long putters now.
Yeah.
But generally, you can do it with our shaft, and you would need to change the lie angle and the loft of the club based on how you set that.
Set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the length is, and you need to get it fitted. And typically, a belly putter head weight's going to be closer to, 400 or 400 grams, or 390 to 400. So arm lock and belly are heavier. So yeah, you would need a stiffer shaft, and we make that. We made it specifically for that case. And so
Yeah. So Matthew, what I'm saying here is like, so if let's just say you're going to stick with your particular putter head, the answer is yes, get a whole new one, because at say normal 35 inches, if you're going to a belly putter, you're going to be in that, let's just say 40-inch range or whatever. And although you're not putting a lot of torque or a lot of pressure onto the putt when you're holding it, right? When you're like this, let me pull off that. When you're sitting here like this or down here, you're not putting a lot of torque, but that's a lot of, it's just my preference. If you want a quality club, you just don't want to do that, right? And because now you're going to have to put on a really long grip in order to cover it all up in order for it to feel right. Just reshaft it, right? Just reshaft it. And the other part is that would you need to change the lie angle of the club? The answer is absolutely, right? Absolutely, because now that club went from being, quasi far out in front of you. When you go to a belly putter, you're going to get a little bit taller, and it's going to come in a little bit closer, and that's going to change the lie angle. So yeah, you might want to look at that. Now, if you got one that's got a post in it, it's not real hard. But if you've got one that's got the double bend and you got to bend that, bending the shaft is a tricky animal, right? Can it be done? Yeah. How many? Just a few degrees tops, right? And unless you want to dent the shaft, and then you can bend it all you want. But I wouldn't recommend that.
Use it.
And that's where you go. So hopefully that helps. All righty. So now here we're getting outside of it, but Matt Revlock says no rounds. Matt's the guy that visited me the other day. We went 2 hours, and the guy goes low, man. He can golf into the 60s, and big guy. Says I'm posting early because his daughter's got a basketball game. Hopefully she's good. So his daughter, his daughter's in high school, and she's as tall as you and I. And she's just absolutely just string beans. It's cool. All right, explain the best way to take off soft spikes. How to take off soft spikes.
Cool.
Well, if you got a wrench, right? Yeah, that's going to go the same way. So soft spikes come with a wrench, and they come with normally two. They normally come with a dual prong, which goes into the holes of the soft spikes, or they've got this thing that looks like a round claw, and the round claw is to engage.
I answered him.
Huh?
I answered him already.
Oh, look at you go.
Move on.
Anyway, the claw. They're Miss McGough. I call her the peanut gallery. The claw grabs onto the soft spikes, and then you just turn it. And the best way to get it is because most of them are like the 90-degree quick twists. So you push in, turn, and then normally you're free to go. So that's a good one. Scott wants to know, he says, spoke to Robin, and she referred me to you. Question on Acura FX 3.0 100F shafts. That's the fairwood shaft. How much would you tip trim to install into a TS 18.5 wood? I see conflicting info from no, not 2 inches. No. Okay, so what the Acura FX 3.0 100, that's the model and kind of the weight, and it's a fairway wood, and it's going into a 5 wood. So keep in mind, Scott, that this thing's made to go into a 3 wood. All right, so I would go anywhere from a half to an inch, but I would, depending on the guy. If the guy is a very violent swinger, then that 3/4 is probably a pretty good number. If he's an average swinger, I'd only go to about a half. The hundreds are very, very stout, or the FX3s are stout clubs, and you don't want to overdo it with these things because they're already made to be in fairway woods. Remember we were talking, guys, about fairway wood shafts? This is one of the companies that does it. And they don't do a bad job. All right. Manuel, what do you say, sir? McGolfaholics. You guys are killing me. We're coming up with new names of all the like Arnie's Army, and now I'm McGolfaholics. Oh, hope your holidays are wonderful. It seems that OEM brands launched new clubs. Callaway, Cobra, Cleveland like the new Wedge this year. Yeah, so I guess of the three so far, so Mizuno launched early. Titleist, I think, is still holding on a little bit. They did a little something, something. Callaway made the biggest splash with the Paradigm, and with the Paradigm, I just got the fitting stuff, so I'll be doing the testing here in a little bit. And Cobra just released their line of stuff, and it'll just keep coming. This is that time frame where we get all that, and it leads up to the PGA show. I think it's going to be a good year for golf equipment in general. All right. Manuel says, studying at each university is time consuming for me and frustrating for golfers coming in trying to fit into something last year and the new year, and the launch of this PGA show will be busy. Yeah. So this is the what I like to call, we're in the manual. We're in the what I call the suck zone, like in the thing. The suck zone is you've got all last year's product that may or may not be available, and you've got all the new stuff that's coming out. Everybody's talking about that's available but not allowed to be used, and it's about a 3-week concept. And yeah, this is the hard one, so it's pretty different. So that's just what it is. And it's a 60 gram. Yep, we got you. Mike Pett, he's from Buffalo. It's been a long while since tuning in. Thank you, sir. Currently at Innisbrook. All right. You guys ever been to Innisbrook? That's down in Florida. That's where the Copperhead is at. And it says played South Carolina course and shot 72. All right. Well done, bud. Good job. All right. Joe Broderick, he's our airplane mechanic. Sir, ma'am, stick to the pot that Jerry's rot. So Joe has found his way into, he knows some folks that are, how shall we say, they've taken into home cooking of alcohol and the moonshine. And the last bunch he brought down to me apparently got up to about 165 to 170%. And wow. We put him in some cherries. I gave him the last batch. I said, here you go, bud. And so he did just good. All right, Danny, when you review Callaway's new driver, when will you? Well, I just got him today, bud. So you can guarantee we'll have it before we go down to the PGA show. Hope you can compare them with the Rogue models too. Hope you're out. Hold on a minute. There we go. Oh, oh, you guys muted your own mic. There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think we're going to head out. It looks like there's not a whole lot of BGT questions, Jim.
Not
so we're
yet.
going
I was looking forward. All right. Oh, here we go. Frank, putting the beat. This is the guy we're talking about waiting on the wedges. Should see a little more lower flight. That's the guy that we're making the. We got the shafts for, and we're waiting on the black wedges for him.
That depends on what he's got now, but the intent is not to be lower ball flight than anything else. The intent is to be comparable ball flight, but just tighter dispersion.
Right.
In our testing, what we saw was comparable launch, comparable spin, comparable distance, just noticeably tighter dispersion.
Well, kind of in talking with Frank, that's kind of what he's looking for. I mean, he's all about he's tweaking, and tweaking down, and that'll work out for him.
Incremental improvement.
There you go. Peter says he's using the BGT shaft in the Lab Max putter. I don't know is that the Myrna pat. There you go.
Yeah, he's got the bigger version, but it's that Mez shape.
I don't, that a lot of people can get turned off by the shape. I just don't see it. That doesn't bother me nearly as bad as the branding iron that they had before. But the yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, if it, most people, if it really, really works, they can get over the looks of a club. But
yeah, they were one of the first companies that OEMs that started carrying our shafts and have done really well. So I'm not going to say anything bad about them.
Yeah, their products work. particularly for people with very high rates of acceleration. They work really well.
Oh yeah, I met the guy. I don't know his name per se, but oh, here we go. Here's another. It says Dave says I game a TaylorMade Spider SR flow neck putter with a BGT putter shaft and a Golf Pride SNR grit. Awesome combo. Well, there's another plus.
Yeah, so he's
well done.
sort of doing his own version of counterbalancing.
Well, thanks, Dave. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And
Looks
we
like
got another one, Joe Dennis. He's got a stability shaft on a Scotty SS Squareback 2, almost 2 years. And he can't find anything to kick it out of the bag.
That's cool.
Man, look at
Thanks,
that.
Joe.
All right, here we go. Frank wants to know, do these shafts work better with an aggressive swing or a more smoother transaction?
Wedges?
The wedges or the driver?
The wedges.
Wedges.
I don't think it really
It
matters
doesn't
that
matter.
much because the upper's
Yeah.
so stable. It's going to keep the face angle.
The
of liver
aggressive
square.
guy's not going to deflect the upper portion of the shaft.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Brian Gott. He's a PGA guy.
Brian Gott. Holy smokes. Gott Golf. How are
He
you,
said,
Brian?
all the products are awesome.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Brian's awesome.
I'm trying to get to all the BGT stuff so you don't have to hear me talking about the other things.
He's got a wife to get home too.
Yeah.
I think I do.
When he left this morning, he did.
Let's see. Here's Jerry Smiley said, loved it, gained almost 10 yards and tighter. Oh, loved it. 10-yard gain almost most of the time with a tighter dispersion. That's Jerry saying.
Hopefully that's the driver and not the putter.
But yeah.
Or the wedge even.
Yeah, the wedge shouldn't go 10 yards further unless he jacked the lofts.
Yeah, right. And then Jim Adams says 10 yards is an awesome increase in straight. Always nice to go down one club for your second shot. You are absolutely correct. All right. Okay, here we go. Not just a golfer. This guy is from Georgia, and I just went with Recoil 95 F4s in my Mizuno Hot Metal Pros, which we made for him. And graphite wedges are on the radar. Which BGT shaft would you recommend with the Jaws raw head? So he's got a 95 gram recoil, and
yeah, F4 is pretty stout. I would say probably 115.
Yeah, the 115.
That's what I was like, just as I don't need it to be a sledgehammer. I just like it a little bit heavier, just a little bit for the guys for those partial shots, so you can still track the partial shot. And normally that works out pretty good. All right. Oh, look at here. Danny Freeman says, amazing shaft conversation. Love the engineering minds of these guys. You've been classified as engineers, man.
We're not even engineers.
We're not really.
We talked to Rob and he nerds out.
We've been around a lot of really smart people, so
we've both been doing this for 25 plus years.
Here you go. Well, the yes putters, like I told you before, we went through tons of those things. There's actually really, really nice, even with the semicircle pattern that was in the impact area, but that was kind of cool. But the reality of it was the feel was really good. That was the really important part about it. And then you couldn't get any more help with, and you let what was the dude? The guy went and bought it for like $40 in a room and ended up winning a major with the damn thing.
That was Jim Furyk.
Yeah. All right. Charles Bartholomew, he's a good buddy. He's a Submariner along with me. He says, you had me from balancing each shaft the club goes into. So you got some guys looking, or just it sounds like you might have some guys waiting.
Yeah, they'll have to wait, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Looks like I caught them all. We'll have to go back and start talking about the other things. So, guys, again, thanks so much, bud. And we will certainly get together at this. This was a ton of fun, and we'll get out there and we'll get back with you as soon as we get this video done. I'll give you the link so you guys can use it on your site and whatnot.
Cool. Thank you.
Sounds great.
All right, fellas. Have a good one, buddy.
Jim, thanks
Yeah,
so
have
much.
a good one. Thank you, Jim.
Take care.
All righty, let's get back to this thing. All righty. Here's Tom's Golf saying hello to everyone. Hello, buddy. My dog Rex, all is well in South Florida. Hit the students. All right. Oh, hit the thumbs up, students. There you go. We'll be down there in a couple weeks, man. It's going to be all kinds of fun. Brendan says Callaway Paradigm looks amazing. The price of the driver is $550-ish in the UK. Yep. And the pound to dollar must not be too far off because it's in that same price range for us out here as well. I did get to see it. Now that it's out, I can talk a little bit more about it. From a techno perspective, it's much different than what you'll see in the standard build for drivers. Meaning that, and if you've watched it, the YouTube universe has been flooded with Paradigm. Now, the cool part about it is most of the people have given just a tremendous positive rating, which I don't know, it might have hurt some folks to actually say that because they were really not Callaway fans. And the accuracy and whatnot. So, and we'll talk about in the video, but the bottom piece is forged carbon. So each bottom piece is not going to look identical. So, when you get it, you say, oh, this is my forged carbon. And then the traditional top will be on it. The interweaved crown will be there. And then it has a cup face technology with the jailbreak and the AI face. And then there's a metal piece on the back for depending on what it is you want the driver to do. There's one with an adjustable weight, there's one without, and then there's one that's a little bit draw bias. So the LS, for all these guys using the LS, there's no more LS. You'll be in the normal one. Now, I will say this. When I did see them, there was one that was very flat. So if your guy is struggling with the drivers because they're very much upright, you will find out that that there is a flat driver out there that you very well may find in the middle of the club face. And if it goes, it goes pretty good. So there you go. All righty. So we got that one. There's Charlie saying hello. Frank saying hello. CHS basketball. Elbow cup. Yeah. Peter. There's Peter. Oh, look at this one. We got a new picture up here. Well done, sir. Terrible news. I played golf 3 times last week. Temperatures. You dog. Well done, man. Well done. All right, Travis K. Love the special guest episode. Great content. Yeah, we're going to try and. So that's going to be part of my go down to when I go down to PGO. So see these guys and make some schedules and be able to talk with them. Hopefully this will help. There we go. What do you say, buddy? Single digit dreams. Jim, what's the proper way to test for iron length? Dynamically, bud. Dynamically. So what I do is I have a set of irons. Same head, same shaft, same grip, same flex, same everything except for length. And what I do is, and it's irrelevant of the ball, right? And we put an impact tape on the face. I have you hit 3 shots. And why 3 shots? Merely because of what Tom Lehman said one day in an interview, that in 3 shots he can tell exactly what the ball's going to do. Now, this has been going on since I've been doing this since '99, and he's not wrong. All right, and you can get a pattern. You'd be surprised. It'll be all over the face, and then one will be just like that, and it tells you the length. And all I'm looking for is length is equal to consistency. Once you have that consistency, you can start modifying the iron to the way that you need it to go, and it's just amazing. But that's how we do it dynamically. Todd Hamilton, the D9s you put together are super. Well, I am so glad that you like them. He just picked them up here not too long ago. It is a good club. I think it's going to be a good club going forward, and I think we're still going to find a lot of more folks. We're going to find a lot of folks that'll fit into it. What part 2, Darren? I don't know, bud. Bartholomew, thank you for the thumbs up. Scott, there are pills for that. She's talking to somebody up there. Peter, he did that already. We saw the other one. That was actually cool. Can't tell if the pork shoulder, if it's a pork shoulder or a loaf of bread. Well, I guarantee you, Tom, it was a pork shoulder, and it was delicious. You saw it just before I put it into a pan with some apple juice, and then we covered it up and did it. Man, oh man, that turned out good. Yes, cherries, it didn't help the flavor. We finished the apple one last night. Yeah, there you go. Apple pie only good with vanilla ice cream on it. Well, that's unless you had what we were drinking the other day, Charlie. Other than that, wow. There we go. Yeah, Darren, what do you say, buddy? Thanks for staying up late. What's the particular Jumbo Max grip did you go with? There are many. Yes, there are. I think I'm liking the thought of the non-taper, maybe medium. Any thoughts? So, Darren, I went with a small. I use a standard grip, but I also like the non-tapered variety. I always built up the bottom hand in order for it to fit properly. And when I tested this small, and I tested the mediums and the larges before, and that was off the camera. And I could do okay with the medium, large, because I think their fitting form is a little bit unconservative. All right, and the other part is you've got to hit it a good 10, 15 times in order to get over the fact that it is much bigger, and your mind is reeling about the fact, wow, it's really big. Well, when I grabbed these smalls, even though they're bigger than a jumbo, I was like, wow, these are actually very comfortable. And about 5 swings into it, I started releasing the club again, and it was all done. But it was the smalls and the ultralights, and they were pretty much a non-tapered variety as well. All righty. Yep, we talked about that one. He had that one. Those guys, I got to talk to them beforehand, and they're actually pretty good folk. It's just they're a small company trying to get bigger, and they've got a different take on the way a shaft should be, and good for them, right? Good for them. And if it works, even better for them. If it doesn't work, well, then they're going to have a problem. So far, we're seeing that they work. So the zone shaft kind of took me by surprise. I'm expecting extraordinarily good things with this stability shaft. So this is going to be very, very cool. From Michigan, is it frozen up there yet, Dave? We're getting into these 30-degree nights and then 40-degree days, and I'm although I like it not being freezing, but gee, man, Christmas, that's a heck of a swing. Dave Freeman, I have a directed force putter now, and I have never seen a putter that sweet with a face from head to toe. You can read the putt correctly and straighten the putting position. I do like the lab putters. The Brandon iron one with the big circly one with you got the face and the big circly thing on the back. That's a bit distracting to me. Can I putt with it? Yes, I can. But it's a little bit distracting. The balance on it was something that I talked to him about it. There's a guy in Indianapolis that had a similar line of balancing, and he went nutty when I said something about it. They're very similar in the way that they balanced, but that's where the similarities ended. He had weights and he had the grips, the forward facing grip, and the whole 9 yards, and which made it that much more of a putter for that type of situation. So not bad at all. Sonny V, it's been a while. Was over in Europe for a good chunk of December. Well, good for you, dude. Won't be making the PGA show this year. Too much on the go. Maybe next year. Well, if we get down there, give me a holler, bud. We'll go grab a beer or something. George Furman, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining us. How far in the back will go? Well, I think we saw that one. That it's just the wedges, Frank, but they are working on irons. We probably won't see it probably till the end of the year, is the way they were talking. Peter, 85 in some areas. Oh my! we're just working on, Peter, we're working on wardrobe now. As much as this wonderful chubby body is out there, whether it's shorts or whether it's pants. So we're gonna have to pack a little bit of both. That'll be good. JJ should have known by the shorts that they were down south. Yeah, no doubt. Trevor, he's something else. He is a very straightforward kind of guy. I like him. Charlie's talking about ice cubes. Never heard of that one. Dave, I game a TaylorMade spider. Yep, we talked about that one. All right, Robin's keeping me busy. That's good. Joe was talking about having the GBT or BGT in his square back. Good for him. Not a golfer's talking to us from Georgia. Lee Cheney from Weeki Wachee, Florida. I have been there more than a couple of times. The family is down in that neck of the woods. Very good. Thank you for being in here. I take a pill for that. And she does say that too, Scott. All righty. Robin, talking. Imagine that, right? And then Jim Adams. Hi, gang. Well, how are you, Jim? Good first name, by the way. All righty. Here we go. Brian Gott. There he is. I've seen him before a couple of times. Well done, sir. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Debbie Crowell saying, hey, Jim. Hello. Thank you for joining us. The irons are incredible. The painting great. Reduced to the graphite, the black ferrules, the silver rings really set off the clubs. Well, I'm glad you like them, bud. Jim Adams got a quick question. All right. I'm refurbishing an old Scouty Newport Platinum. Cool. I am blacking it out. What do you have for a shaft for something like that? A flat black shaft. And I would think that would be the way to go too, but there are a few places. I think GolfWorks actually may sell one that is actually black and it's not shiny. It's the flat black kind. And I would go with that one and try that one. If not, that Golf Shafts America would be another place to go. But I'm down with the black shaft. You just saw it right here. I think this is going to be just super duper cool. You could go with this guy right here, the Stability Tour. It's called Stability Tour Black. Stability Tour Black. You can just barely see the logo on it. That might help you out. And that Trevor, he knows his stuff, man. I was talking to him about inside diameters and outside diameters, and he just rattling them off. So if you wanted to, that'd be another place to go. Thank you. And then here's Robin. Look at this, talking again. All right, great show with the BGT shafts. Click like now and support the channel. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Went to the driving range today, Jerry Smiley says. Hit my new Callaway Speed Driver, brand new 21 model with a helium shaft. Ooh, helium shaft's nice, man. Really, from UST. That's a very, very, well, obviously it's light because it's helium shaft, but they're surprisingly, they'll stay with you. I mean, I like them. There's Lee Cheney saying hello. Jim Adams wants to know how it was from Jerry. Oh, here we go. Jerry loved to gain 10 yards most of the time with tighter dispersion. Oh, that's where that came from. Okay, we understand now. 10 yards, there you go. He's not wrong. Being able to come down instead of hitting into the driver with an 8 iron versus a 7, that would be awesome. And Peter, good gravy, dude. I appreciate that, man. This just makes it all worthwhile, to be honest with you. I think you have no idea how much I appreciate it. I thank you so very much. Lee Schwab, there you go. Good stuff. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it. Yep, and 115, that's a good number. Danny says amazing shaft conversation. Yep, we saw that one. There's Cam joining late. And D Hen, hello guys. Justin or JT Wilson, how are you, sir? Beautiful day here in Northwest Louisiana. Still too wet to play, but tomorrow we hope. Well, good for you, man. I'm still stuck. It's in the 30s, and no, I'm not mad. I am not going out on this stuff. There's Charlie. No doubt, right? Thank you. You are most welcome, sir. Appreciate it. All right, Dehan, anyone hit the KE4 Max irons? Just want to know your thoughts. So, I have, well, I don't know necessarily about the Max. KE4 line started with weights in the toe and the heel, and you could actually interchange, make one heavier, one lighter, that kind of stuff, in order to help with club rotation. It's always been a club that has had a pocket cavity in it and has had, we'll say, a modicum of offset. Some of them, they had like a tour model, and then they had the Max model. And so the Max may have a lot of offset on it. Very forgiving club. Now, the question is the question you normally get asked with this one, D, is it a quality club head? The answer is yes, it is. This is quality club head. Pardon me. What I normally find when we do these, pardon me, when we do these types of clubs, when you get guys like club head manufacturers, they have these really great designs, but their graphic design on it is just poor, and the painting is poor on them, and they look second tier stuff when they're first tier golf club heads. And GolfWorks has overcome that. Their stuff looks really, really good right out of the box. Oh, you're in trouble calling the peanut gallery. She's heard that one before, just every once in a while. There it is. All righty, we asked that one. Past my prime. Hello, Jim Prime has been just signed in. The BGT discussion is very interesting. I think so too. They're a bunch of good guys. Doug offers bailing early. Have a grand evening. You too, sir. Alice 68B. Hello, everyone from a wet and cold Paisley in Scotland. Still waiting for my first game of 23. Well, so are we, Alice. So I'm glad that you've taken the time to join us. I know it's very late over there, and thank you so very much for joining us. If you got questions, throw it out there. Tom's Golf. Any reason for why having higher hands at address is helping me with longer clubs? Does it naturally shallow the swing? I'm not much of a shaft or a swing guy, Tom, but if you have higher hands at address and you brought it back and you did all that type of stuff, it's probably putting you more on the plane that you need for that iron, which would mean to me that maybe that thing's a little bit too long. But if you're going from here to here, right, or you're raising it up and you're putting it there, could be that, or even maybe a lie angle would help you out. Dimple Sphere, how are you, sir? Just put a combo set of Vega irons. Ooh, how'd that work out? With 14 wedges, red star grips, blue ferrules, look pretty good. Nippon A950 shafts. Vega started getting a little bit, starting to promote themselves a little bit more too. I think it's because, they have to, right? The JDM movement has lost a lot of steam, so they really, really need to bring themselves up. So you really, but I'm glad. I always thought they had good stuff. They just weren't very friendly for us lefties. And Jim is awesome. You're awesome. Anyone else enjoying the hype season of clubs that are the same as 2022? Well, in some cases, it's really hard to say, yay, verily. You got these logarithmic jumps. However, I will say, from what I've studied so far, I will say Callaway has done something different. Now, does that translate into whatever they say it is? That remains to be seen. However, the guys that are testing on YouTube right now, all the guys in the UK and the TXG folks, they are all over it. They really, really like it. So, maybe they found something. Maybe they did. Cog Value Golf has flat black Apollo stepless shafts for $14. There you go. There you go, Jim Adams, right there. I forgot all about Value Golf. Good call. I play the IE4 Max left green them. Okay. Is it possible to take the most forgiving driver like the Paradigm X and use the hosel adjustment, shaft flex, and turn it into a low spin monster? So the Paradigm X is basically draw bias. So the only thing, the difference with that one and the other ones, Cam, is, as I understand it right now, so I'm giving you about a half of an expert answer, is that it's the same makeup, maybe a little bit different in the shape, but it's more going to be weighted towards your inside, right? It's going to be maybe a little bit more closed, a little bit more upright, and have maybe a little bit more weight into the heel to help you turn over the club. Outside of that, everything else is the same as the Paradigm model, except for all those others. So the only way that it's going to be lower, if you're applying the spin to it, there's very little. There's some adjustments that you can do to help you out, but this should be very, very close. All righty. Hopefully I'll be able to stay up with my golfing buddy tomorrow with the new drivers. All right. Very thin, minimal offset. Okay. I gotta like it. Cog's got it going on with this KE4 stuff. Against my better judgment, I'm golfing tomorrow. It's supposed to be high in the 40s. Ooh, dude. Yeah, no. 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 There we go. Alvin O'Clarion, or Kyran. All right. This one has, I'm sorry, Alan, if I didn't say it right. Hope you had a great Christmas. And Happy New Year, Big Al from Dublin. Oh, my goodness gracious. Al, thank you, sir. I'm glad you made it on here. Thank you for staying up this late. Yeah, I appreciate it. Hope all is good in Dublin. Tom Hugh from northeast of England. Thank you. Thanks for the shaft advice. Oh, all right. Project LZ's nicely done, sir. Appreciate it. Glad I could help. Yep. Built my KE4s with a DG 300. Nice plus ferrules and grips to match. Lampkin line. There you go. So we got a positive to that. Oh, we put blue ferrules on it. There we go. Blue ferrules. All righty. All righty. Perfect ferrule fitting for me. Well, I'm glad you liked it, man. I have been called a ferrule Nazi in the past when I was training some other folks, but that's just what it is. And my buddy Tommy says, "Have a good week." You too, sir. Guys, it's we went a half an hour over yet again. It seems to be the thing. Next week, we're going to be talking about going to the PGA show and what it's going to entail, and what our schedule is. There will be quite a few more live streams. In the past, what we've done is we'll go there and then we talk about what we've seen, and we talk about 45 minutes to an hour about it, and then we take off. It might be slightly later in the day because these guys don't stop until 4 or 5. And I've got to, download pictures for you guys to see things and that kind of stuff. So let's play. We'll see you on here, and we'll talk about what we can do, and maybe we can talk about a good time, whether very late, sort of late, that kind of thing, and we'll go from there. And as always, guys, let me get to my thing here. As always, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. I really, really do. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.